history of American slavery isn't confined to southern plantations.
It's really a story that has yet to be told.
It lies beneath our feet, from the mid-Atlantic to the Midwest, into Mexico and Canada.
The Underground Railroad is really a story about people who made sacrifices to provide assistance to freedom seekers.
Welcome back. The new Discovery series Underground Railroad, The Secret History, dives into the hidden stories surrounding networks of freedom seekers and their efforts to escape slavery in the United States.
Here in time to honor Black History Month and celebrate this new body of work is the series producer, Margot Daley. Welcome to the show.
Cynthia, Melissa, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this show.
Oh, we are so excited to talk to you about the show. Right. Even just that little snippet was very, very exciting to see. It is going to be a docu-series. It's a 4-parter. What do you hope that audiences are going to learn from this docu-series?
Well, I can guarantee most Canadians are going to walk away saying, how did I never hear these stories before? The Underground Railroad, as many probably know, it was a secret network. And so it wasn't written down. It wasn't publicized. It was secret. People's lives depended on it. And I think one of the biggest takeaways, too, is we often, especially perhaps in Canada, we like to say the Underground Railroad helped move enslaved people secretly from the south to the north. But one of the things that we uncovered, the network was so much more vast. There were routes that went to the south, for example, something I might not have known a couple of years ago. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know. And so that's actually the focus with tonight's episode, the routes that people use to get to freedom in Spanish territories like Florida and Texas. So, yeah, there's just so much more to the network that I think all of us haven't really thought about and haven't had the chance to hear.
I love that. I think it is so important. I mean, obviously, as we mentioned off the top, it is Black History Month. But other than that, why do you think this moment in history is an important time to reflect on this story and to make this series?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Cynthia. The idea, the genesis for this show came from our production company, the team at Attraction, and it grew out of being inspired by the Black Lives Matter protests of 2020. And it became this question, okay, how do you merge technology and science? And how does that merge with stories about, an important part of Black history, actually, North American history, the Underground Railroad? How do you combine these two to open up this topic to a wider generation, to more bodies, to a broader topic? So the timing is actually perfect to explore science and how it's telling us about one of the most important, powerful networks that existed in history.
You said something off the top that struck me, which I think we realized that it was a secret network. And so there was so much evidence that it wasn't written. It was just orally passed along as a means of survival and secrecy. But one thing that you can't erase is, actual physical evidence on the land where people were moving about, which is where this technology side is so fascinating to me, because you've got in the very first episode, you've got the use of thermal drone technology as an example, even high-tech mapping equipment. So let's talk about modern technology and how it is contributing and adding to the conversations and filling in the gaps of this history.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've gotten my own education on technology, but if you mentioned drones. So the way that LiDAR drones are being used in different areas across North America where this research is being done, from the air, they're able to scan large swaths of land and be able to get a reading on what's actually happening below. You don't have to go into the land and necessarily do a big excavation to realize, a settlement was here, or, an abolitionist stronghold was here, or the home of this famous person, like Harriet Tubman's father. We think it's here. And so technology is really helping move the story forward and help archaeologists and other experts, add new life, new insight into this network.
It's absolutely fascinating. Can you kind of walk us through what it was like uncovering all this new information? Like, I imagine from the perspective of you, like as a producer, it must have been overwhelming, but also and emotional, but also exciting to see all this history kind of coming to life.
100%. So again, tonight's episode, focusing on the southern route, in Texas, we learned, and myself being down there, that, along that route, people use the elements. They didn't necessarily have the houses and the basement tunnels. People used caves. They used pathways. They used water. And so it is really exciting, but also emotional. It's, the Underground Railroad is a part of history. It's painful and it hits deep. And to think about, your ancestors or someone else's ancestors using the elements to get to freedom and the lengths that they would go to be free. So that really touched me everywhere we went, in different areas of the country, to see the lengths that people would go to be free, and the people who risk their own freedom to help them get there.
Yeah, and as you've said, it sort of spans the continent, but, talking about Canada specifically,
Right.
and Canada's role in the Underground Railroad, and for freedom seekers, what role did you really discover, perhaps new things about our role in that bigger picture of helping those who were seeking refuge?
Sure. I mean, there's no doubt Canada offered freedoms from slavery. But so many times the narrative just kind of stops there. They made it to Canada, they're free, everybody's great, they lived happily ever after. And the truth is so much more complex. Many freedom seekers were widely welcomed with open arms into Canada and went on to form communities and build lives. That wasn't necessarily the case with all freedom seekers. They had challenges. Sometimes it was racism, segregation laws, all these sort of things, eking out, as the first people to eke out new communities in forests and clear them and that sort of thing. But what we also discovered is that there are many Black settlements that haven't, are hardly known, barely been uncovered. And so there's so much more. That's the thing that really struck me. We really don't know a lot about what happened once people finally got here. And just in the last couple of days, I've had calls from people who've reached out to me, say, "Oh, my parents ended up in Brantford," or my ancestors ended up over here. And I'm like, I didn't hear about these places either. So it's just a reminder for us in Canada, we have a lot more work to do. We have more descendants to talk to document this. This is an important part of history that we all need to know about.
You're so right. I mean, and maybe you've answered this question, but I mean, I just would really love to know from your perspective, what do you hope that audiences are going to really, really learn and take away from this series?
Exactly that, Cynthia, the questions, having those conversations. What was here? Where, talking to descendants, how come I don't know about them? Where are the exhibits? And hopefully more work to uncover more, for us in Southern Ontario. I am curious, what are the other places that I haven't heard about that, really had important roles in helping, make our country the great place that it is?
Wow, this has been such a fascinating discussion. I'm really, really excited. I want to remind everybody it's the Underground Railroad, The Secret History. It premieres tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on Discovery. It drops every Tuesday, 4-part series, docu-series. Margot, congratulations on being able to put this together. We can't wait to watch it. And thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.